Hey guys, Happy New Year. So I've been slowly kind of working back in the shop after the break and realized that I kind of wanted to change how I was approaching the birds a little bit. Happy with the original birds three-tier bar, that's perfect. We're going to definitely use that. But I think the layout's going to change. I'm going to do one on each side of a sun into the water. So I started setting up the rest of the billets I need for that. First thing I did was take some 1/4 inch 15 and 20 and forge it down this size. This is going to be my sun's. And I haven't quite decided if I'm going to do this inverted or not. But I'm going to cut that more or less like that into a radius. Something like that one was. And then I'll take that and I'm going to lay it into my 300 layer bar here. I'm going to take about a 4-inch chunk of this. This is about 5/8 by 1. After grinding, it'll probably be 7/8 ish by 1/2 inch ish once I get everything leveled out. And I'm going to cut the half round out for the 15 and 20 to show a shiny reflection in the water. The sky is going to be this bar that I ended up making up. So this is just a stack of 1080 welded up so that it matches the 1080 on everything out. And I'm hoping that all my welds will tessellate out and I'll just have a black field, more or less, behind the birds, which are going to be bright silver. Same as the sun. So this will get cut into 4 pieces, about 3/4 inch by 1 inch. And I will lay those out over the 4-inch piece. So I'm going to have a bar of the 3/4 inch 300 layer bar rather. I'm going to lay a piece of 15 and 20 thin 15 and 20 down across that, and then a piece of 1095. Strike that reverse, it'll be 1095, 15 and 20. And then there'll be this in the center with a half round ground in and 15 and 20 put in for the sun. There'll be a piece of bird bar on either end, and then 2 pieces of this on either end of that. And that whole thing will then get capped with this, which is low manganese 1095 or 1075. So the 1080 is higher manganese. It should be a little bit blacker. There should be a little bit of a gradient up there. I'm not sure if it'll terribly show, but it should give me a secondary horizon line-ish. I'm hoping it looks a little cloudy. We'll see. If not, it'll just be sort of a line in the sky, and that's fine too. Yeah, so I need to start grinding these up and get these ready to fit. On the Baba Yaga stuff, so yeah, Baba Yaga. I did try forging this out, and it did not go well at all. This is that, and I'll try to get a picture of this later for you guys and maybe put it in the video on the side here. This is filled with flaws. There's no way I can get a piece out of this. I tried soaking it, welding it. I tried just really being gentle with it with some flux, and I'd get stuff to close up and then it'd open right back up. There was a lot more flaws in this than I thought. Most of my welds look pretty terrible. So I do have these other 2 bars. I have the thicker 3/8 one and the thinner 1/4 inch one. It's interesting that the 1/4 inch one, I see flaws on one side, but not really on the other. So I think this one is welded partway through. And I'm going to try just capping it with some thin 1/8 inch stock and rerunning this thing as another welding cycle. Maybe we'll get something out of it. I don't know. We'll see. If nothing else, that should put a lot more mass into the top of it. I'm going to try doing the same thing with this one, but using slightly thinner bars. I'm going to run that one first because there's less loss if it fails. This one's got a big old pinhole I can see. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. Here, that goes all the way through. It's bigger on this side than this side. I'm thinking I might take a diamond burr and just burn that out and throw a little piece of round stock 15N20 in there, and then weld everything up in a case. There's a lot of oxides in this. I'm debating with myself if I want to try to throw this in some acid or just go with it. I do have to take the EDM stuff off because I discovered this is bronze. Discovered that by corrupting my acid, which sucked. But I don't want to have that impregnated into the welds because that definitely will not weld if there's bronze in there. Copper will do all kinds of funky things to welds. So that's where we're at on that one. The other two bars, or the other bar I had EDM cut, was solid all the way through, and that one worked great. It, was a good way to do that. I don't think I'm going to repeat it because the one that went well spent 8 hours on the machine. And if it wasn't buddy rates, I'd be looking at about a $900 bill for cutting it into 4 pieces. So don't think that's so cost effective. Even if I did get an extra bar of this, it's not $1,000 bar steel, so it's not likely that that's going to be a way forward. But it is an interesting idea if you can find a place that'll do it cheap, just to cut like something you can't cut on a saw, which is what that led to this idea. A friend of mine, Jesse Wang, had a pattern that he would put a lot of money into, time into, and it was like 5/8 thick, and it wasn't quite thick enough to be able to cut it on the saw accurately enough to be able to get 2 pieces, and it was a lot of waste if he was going to grind it one knife out of it. So he ended up finding an EDM shop that would slice it in half for him for $100. I think in that kind of a situation, it's still worth doing EDM because you can't do it another way, and you're going to get twice the yield out of something, and it's going to cost you $120, $150. Although I'm not sure how he managed to get it that cheap, because that had to be at least 3 hours on the machine, judging by this one. Sometimes overnight rates are less. I don't know. You do need to be sure that your steel is really clean if you're going to do that method, because the Baba Yaga spent more time on the machine than it needed to, because he kept having to rethread it, and he had to turn the machine down, which is maybe why the other one ended up being on there for so long. Either way, not sure this is going to be a long-term solution. I'm looking into if I can find a water jet place that can do like 2 inches of stock and only has like a 35,000th kerf. That might be an option. I just want something that's going to be straight and not have the cleanup of a saw, that I can resaw billets and not have to deal with like a lot of cleanup. We'll see. It may not be possible, and then I'll just end up buying a Majestic roll-in saw, which is what everybody else does, and then maybe that I have to go to the same conclusion. I just am stubborn and trying to find all the ways first. Anyway, I'll keep you guys updated as I move forward. So have a happy new year.